Manchester City get away with it. North London is white. Kante is on Inter's list. A transfer roundup and Emoji Monday is all coming up in the next few minutes. As I'm your host, Matt Folick, you're the Onefootballers, and this is the Daily News. First off, it's some breaking news this Monday morning for the Court of Arbitration for Sport, who have deemed that Manchester City have done no wrongdoing. Now, the club were faced with the prospect of a 2-year ban from European football, so that's the Champions League, and a €30 million fine, but things have turned out a little bit better than they planned. There were rumours that maybe the ban was going to be reduced to 1 year or maybe gotten rid of altogether, and that is exactly what's happened. City have got away with it, and they don't have to pay €30 million, only €10 million, which to a club like Man City, even during COVID-19, is absolute peanuts. They'd probably waste that on some other player and probably only one of his legs whilst they're at it as well. Anyway, aside from this, what it does mean is that the Premier League race for the top four has got a little bit more interesting. So before, when we were talking about the Champions League, it looked as though if Man City were banned but they still finished within the top four, then the next spot would go to the 5th place team. Now, of course, it's the top four. City are going to be there along with Liverpool, and it looks like Leicester are the ones who may fall out when it comes to the race. Manchester United and Chelsea in slightly better form than Brendan Rodgers' Foxes, but we'll get onto that in just a little bit. On top of this, it does mean that Manchester City can now prepare for the future. Maybe the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Raheem Sterling, Sergio Aguero won't leave the club. Maybe Pep Guardiola won't leave the club because they all know they'll be playing Champions League football next season. And they've still got this season's Champions League to play for as well. So next up, and to the North London derby. And my word, I had so many messages from you guys saying, Matt, how you feeling? Isn't it amazing? Yes. Spurs have been pretty poor recently, and my word, what a victory. 2-1 over Arsenal in a contest which it wasn't the best North London derby, let's be honest. I mean, neither side are having a fantastic season. It really could have gone either way, but Jose Mourinho on a one-off game managed to do it. Now, what I did see was, of course, loads of happy Spurs fans delighted with it, loads of unhappy Arsenal fans, as you'd imagine, and quite a few salty Arsenal fans saying, Mourinho shithoused it. It was defensive football. It was this and that. Actually, wasn't very much a Mourinho performance. Yes, Spurs were pretty solid defensively, apart from a few chances conceded, but going forward, they had more shots than Arsenal. They had more shots on target, more block shots, more corners. The only thing they didn't really have more of was the possession. It's just that Spurs used it better. On the flip side of this, though, it must be said as well, defensively, Arsenal are so poor, and I do really feel sorry for some of their brilliant attacking players. I thought Aubameyang played really well. He obviously hit the bar, had a few chances, a great save from Hugo Lloris, and you think, yeah, Arsenal have done enough to get a point, maybe even win it. And then, I mean, Kolasinac, that back pass is horrendous. David Luiz looks like he's turning and running through treacle. And it's just an absolute nightmare after nightmare. And Mikel Arteta, it's obvious that he really needs to sort this out, because going forward, as I said, Arsenal are great. And at the back, it just all fell to pieces. And that's not to say that Spurs are great at the back. Serge Aurier had a pretty poor game. I don't think Ben Davies was too great either, despite the fact he hit the bar. But at the end of the day, Spurs end up scoring more goals, so they won the game, and it was a fantastic glance header from Toby Alderweireld, which gave them all 3 points 10 minutes from time. Of course, it means that Spurs are now 2 points ahead of their North London rivals as the race for, let's be honest, the Europa League spot heats up now. There's no way either of them are getting into the top four. So next up, and to a bit of transfer news, where apparently N'Golo Kante could be on the transfer list at Chelsea. This is a rather strange one, to be honest, but Inter Milan may be looking to bring the French World Cup winner in if his contract wasn't worth 290 grand a week. Frank Lampard said on Friday that they're going to have big discussions with N'Golo Kante and the medical staff at Chelsea to see how things are looking in pre-season. This to me says that if they're at all worried about Kante's fitness, not only in pre-season but heading into the last few years of his contract at Chelsea, they're going to get rid of him. Like, the last thing Lampard needs is an extraordinarily expensive player who's constantly going to be injured. I think Arsenal and Mesut Ozil can attest to that. So what are they going to do? Send them off to Inter Milan. I mean, as I mentioned before, the contract is ridiculous, but if they're really willing to get rid of him, then Inter probably won't have to pay too much for the 29-year-old. Alongside, as well as this, we've seen what Frank Lampard's doing at Chelsea. There's young players coming in, there's an exciting attacking team, and I'm not quite sure N'Golo Kante fits in anywhere but the defensive midfield position, where they've got loads of other players to play as well. Not necessarily defensive-wise, but certainly box-to-box players who can fill in the defensive role. And talking of Chelsea, they actually appear in our news roundup as Kai Havertz is apparently asked to leave Bayer Leverkusen if Chelsea make it into the Champions League. That's because his current side Leverkusen did not make it into the Champions League on the final day of the season, finishing 5th, just one place outside. Alongside this, Zenit St. Petersburg are the latest team to be interested in taking Liverpool defender Dejan Lovren. Bayern Munich are reportedly interested in either Chelsea's Timo Bakayoko or Tottenham's Tanguy Ndombele to replace the outgoing Thiago. And lastly but not least, Jurgen Klopp has confirmed he will be leaving Liverpool in 4 years' time. The German manager has said in 2024 he'll leave the club and then take a short sabbatical. So next up into Friday Feels, this is where you guys left your footballing predictions for the weekend's football in the comments section down below. And I've got to say, although I wasn't correct to my Atalanta against Juventus prediction, which was 3-2. It was pretty close at 2-2, so I think that deserves some credit. Anyway, this is all about you guys, so here are a few of you who got things right. First up, Banridi Ramlawi guessed that Tottenham would be victorious 2-1 over Arsenal. Black Mamba guessed that Leeds would grab a 1-0 victory over Swansea, which they did in the dying moments. And lastly but not least, Kian Dolan guessed that Norwich's relegation would be confirmed, and it was, with a thumping 4-0 defeat to West Ham United. Finally, we come to this week's Emoji Mondays, where we at Onefootball throw a couple of emojis down over some of the weekend's action. And first off, talking about that Norwich defeat, the best players, actually there's 2 of them, of the week goes to Mikel Antonio for scoring 4 goals. The first time a West Ham player has scored 4 goals in a Premier League match, and a stunning performance from the forward. And alongside this, there was Nick Pope. Some brilliant saves at Anfield as Burnley came away from Liverpool with a very, very valuable point. He denied pretty much everyone in the Liverpool side and definitely put in a good shout if he wants to be England's number 1. Next up on the crazy moment goes to Kagla Soyuncu, the Leicester defender, who I don't even know what he was thinking. Like, I'm not sure if you guys saw the Leicester versus Bournemouth game, but it was quite the match. Anyway, for Bournemouth's second goal, not only did Soyuncu not even close down the attacker, who I believe was Josh King, but then when the ball went in the back of the net, he decided to kick Callum Wilson and get himself sent off. What a nightmare. Yeah, really not the greatest weekend for him. Lastly, it wasn't the greatest weekend for Leicester in general, as that match they lost 4-1. That is the best result of the weekend for me. Bournemouth have had a torrid time of it lately. They managed to keep out Spurs in midweek, and now a 4-1 victory to hopefully boost their chances of surviving the drop. It's a pretty good weekend for them. Actually, on top of that, it was pretty crazy that Dominic Solanke scored. But anyway, so there you have it. That is all from me for today. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section about Manchester City, the North London derby, and everything else in today's daily news. Whilst you're at it, you can smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on Onefootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.